Google has fired James Damore after the software engineer circulated a 10-page memo criticizing the company's diversity initiatives, blaming gender gaps in tech on biological causes. Nick Thompson is editor-in-chief at Wired magazine, and he joins me now from San Francisco. So, Nick, it's been just over a month and a half since ride-hailing giant Uber saw a number of high-profile resignations over claims of sexual harassment. Does this Google memo signal bigger issues in Silicon Valley culture?
I think that there are fundamental issues in Silicon Valley culture. There's a huge gender disparity in who has coding jobs, who gets coding jobs, who gets promoted in coding jobs. And that's been one of the main topics of debate in Silicon Valley. And the fact that this has caused such an uproar at Google and caused such internal debate and consternation and this reaction shows that Silicon Valley is aware of the problem, that a lot of Silicon Valley is trying to fix the problem, and that other parts of Silicon Valley are resisting. So I think this is more a signal of a very intense ongoing debate right now.
So your magazine, Wired, reported Tuesday that internal messages at Google indicate some Googlers supported the memo. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, we have two great scoops at Wired on this story today. One from Natasha Tiku, who revealed that the guy who got fired had a dishonest LinkedIn profile and did not have the academic credentials he said he had. And then the second one by Ashley Feinberg, where she was given the screenshots of the internal discussions at Google, which reveal, among other things, that a lot of people at Google supported his position. I mean, you can see the debate. So what happened in this story is that at the end of last week, this guy, James Damore, posted his 10-page essay. A bunch of people were very critical, but a bunch of people were supportive. And you can see that there really is a divide within the company. And you look at those screenshots and you can see the tension in the conversation.
So Google is already dealing with a lawsuit in regards to gender pay discrimination. How do you see the company trying to move forward?
Well, there's going to be a big all-hands meeting with Sundar, the CEO, on Thursday. I think that they have... Google is put in a really difficult situation. This is a company that has always prized and valued and talked about free speech. These message boards are supposed to be symbols where people can have open conversation and talk about anything. But on the other hand, this conversation went completely against one of the fundamental things that Google is trying to fix. Google is trying to become a place that is more welcoming to women, a place that does a better job of attracting the best female engineers and coders and helping them develop at the company. So Google was in a really tough situation. They responded to it with very strong action, for which they're getting a lot of criticism from a big part of the country. So I think Google it's walking on eggshells right now, the company. I think what they're going to do is they're going to continue to try to be a more open company, a more welcoming company to women, a place where women feel like they can thrive and prosper. But at the same time, they're also going to be aware at the outrage they've started. So by firing James Damore. So Google's in a tricky spot politically, but I think the whole leadership at Google is very much committed to having a welcoming and diverse workplace and doing what they can to get there.
So Nick, you mentioned Google's CEO Sundar Pichai is holding a meeting with employees on Thursday. What would you expect to come out of that meeting?
Well, I think you're going to have a lot of very intense conversation. There are people, as you can see on those screenshots in Ashley Feinberg's story, you can see there are people who feel really strongly. There are people who believe that Google has a serious problem at its core, that it needs to resolve that it needs to fix that the company that is in charge of sorting the world's information, if it is only an appealing place to work for half the population, that is a fundamental problem, not just for Google, but for the world. So you're going to have people making that argument and pointing to this memo saying this shows what's rotten at Google. And then you'll probably have a smaller subset of people who say that firing the author of the memo is a violation of core tenets at Google. And so you're going to have some intense back and forth, and you're going to have a lot of criticism directed at Sundar Pichai, both from the people who think that he's overseen a company with this terrible problem, and from people who feel like he overreacted. So this is going to be an internal town hall for the ages, to be honest.
All right, a lot to watch. Nick Thompson, thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having me here.